Despite Renault working to produce a new engine for 2026, some bombshell news this week as the French manufacturer is now looking to discontinue as an engine supplier in Formula 1. This is yet another drop in the ocean of drama we've had recently with Alpine, which started with Ocon almost taking out himself and his teammate in Monaco, which was followed by them not continuing his contract. What does this mean for them, and what would the repercussions be moving forward into 2024 and 2025? Alpine is considering discontinuing its Renault engine in Formula 1 from 2026 and has begun discussions with rival manufacturers about securing a customer deal. This evaluation of its F1 project, spurred by a challenging start to the current season, has revealed that senior management at Renault and Alpine are thoroughly exploring all options to improve their situation. With its current Renault power unit underperforming compared to competitors and no guarantee of success with the next generation turbo hybrids in 2026, the necessity of the substantial investment to produce its own engine is in question. Consequently, a plan is being considered for Renault to potentially stop work on its 2026 power unit and instead transition Alpine to a customer team. Sources indicate that Alpine team principal Bruno Famin has been contemplating this situation in recent weeks and has engaged in discussions with rival manufacturers to explore alternative options. The most logical solution to avoid a potential conflict for Renault would be to source customer engines from Red Bull, which will have its own power units from 2026. However, despite these talks, a deal with Red Bull seems unlikely due to the logistical challenges the Milton Keynes-based team would face in supplying a third team alongside its own and its sister squad RB for the 2026 debut campaign. Speaking last year about the possibility of a customer deal, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner said, "I think we need to establish ourselves first. We don't want to overstretch ourselves. I think already supplying two teams in 26, that is probably even slightly beyond optimum in year one, but it just gives us the capacity and capability for further down the line. So I think first of all, we need to firmly establish ourselves, and then we have the capability to take more on from there." If the Red Bull route does not happen, then the most likely other option would be Mercedes, which has a supply deal freed up for 2026 thanks to Aston Martin's switch to Honda. Customer deals with Aston Martin and McLaren have already shown the German car manufacturer is not afraid to supply other automotive companies with power units, as it does not see any wider commercial downside to its F1 deals. If Alpine does decide to go down the customer engine route and cannot reach its own agreement with another manufacturer, then F1's regulations detail how one of the sport's current engine suppliers would be called upon to supply it, so it is not left without a power unit. That would likely end up in Honda being requested to provide an engine, as it's the only existing manufacturer that does not have plans for a second customer team in 2026. While Alpine's engine situation appears fluid right now, it comes with Renault CEO Luca De Meo making it clear recently that he was committed to the future of Alpine in F1 despite interest from potential buyers. Speaking to Autocar, he said, "It's not my style. We will not sell even a part of this thing. We don't need the money. I've had people making offers left and right, then talking in the press about it, but we're not interested. It would be stupid and I won't do it." In the interview, he did cite, however, that Renault had never successfully got on top of the turbo hybrid engine rules, which had cost it performance throughout the current regulation cycle. "When we began the hybrid era in 2014, our engine didn't perform," he said. "We have been world champions with Red Bull, but with hybrid, things went wrong. Even the engine we developed in 2021 had a 0.2 second to 0.5 second disadvantage every lap, and this year we've screwed up with the car. If you combine everything, we're up to 1.5 seconds from where we need to be." Switching engines would allow Alpine to secure power units that are cheaper and potentially more competitive. Additionally, becoming a customer team would simplify future sales prospects, as the team would no longer be tied to the legacy of its Viry-Châtillon engine department. They are Renault Sport Racing's headquarters near Paris and has been designing and producing Renault's F1 engines since the 1970s. Moving away from F1 engine production would signify a significant shift in focus for Renault. However, the company could still engage in various other motorsport activities, such as developing the power unit for its WEC hypercar, which currently uses a modified Mechachrome F2 engine with a spec hybrid system. So what will this mean for the grid? For Formula One, Renault ceasing engine supply from 2026 would be a significant setback. With the arrivals of Audi and Red Bull powertrains/Ford, the number of suppliers was set to increase to 6. Currently, Mercedes, Ferrari, Honda and Renault provide engines. If Renault exits, the number will likely drop to 5, meaning half the teams in 2026 will be customer teams. F1 might have to wait until 2028 for a potential increase in suppliers, contingent on General Motors' entry if Andretti does end up joining the sport. And it does seem likely that Renault Group management is preparing for a sale to Andretti. Given the high costs and limited benefits, they appear to be cutting the program as Alpine struggles with the lack of sponsors and lower payments compared to other teams. Instead of facing potential bankruptcy, selling to a new owner could be a lucrative exit strategy. The timing of their decision to abandon the Renault engine right after the final 2026 engine regulations were confirmed suggests a reluctance to invest in developing a new powertrain. This move aligns with the broader strategy of exiting the costly endeavour of engine production while maximising financial returns for a prospective buyer like Andretti. To be honest, getting rid of the Renault engine is actually pretty smart, but at the same time, it is also the solution that F1 should be preventing. Renault attributes their struggles more to their chassis than their power unit, but corporate pressure likely plays a significant role in exploring these business options. The ongoing discussions might even involve rebadging their power unit. Interestingly, Renault could strategically position themselves for a beneficial outcome, potentially gaining access to a cutting-edge Honda power unit. However, it's unfortunate that Renault appears to have lost the competitive drive that once characterized their participation in F1. This shift in focus reflects broader corporate priorities over the traditional racing spirit. Despite these uncertainties, though, Alpine's future in Formula One is secure. Should Renault end its engine project, other manufacturers are prepared to step in by 2026. Honda and Audi are strong contenders, each supplying only one team that year. Honda powering Aston Martin and Audi becoming a customer team by taking over Sauber. However, Audi's new project might not be ready to take on a customer team immediately. Ferrari and Red Bull's powertrains are also possibilities, though a deal with Red Bull is unlikely due to logistical challenges. Ferrari losing Sauber as a customer team could be a suitable match for Alpine, as it has shown willingness to work with 3 teams. Currently, Ferrari supplies Haas. Mercedes is another option, as it will have an open slot with Aston Martin switching to Honda in 2026. And not only that, Toto Wolff would love it, as he is a third-part owner of Mercedes, and therefore having Alpine as a customer would see him enjoy quite the payday. And Mercedes is no stranger to supplying this team. In 2015, more than half a decade before it would become known as Alpine, the Lotus team ran with Mercedes engines, finishing 6th in the constructors' standings with 78 points, a dramatic 68-point improvement over its tally scored in 2014, powered by Renault. If the Viry F1 power unit operation is shut down and Alpine fail to secure a customer deal, the rules permit an OEM will be instructed to supply the team. However, any new supply arrangement would require FIA approval. Another consideration is the name under which the team would compete. Continuing as Alpine, a sports car brand, while using another automaker's engine raises questions. Additionally, there have been rumours of a potential takeover of Alpine, which would result in a new team name anyway. Despite ongoing talks with other suppliers, Alpine hopes to find an internal solution, possibly by partially selling the F1 engine division to a buyer or partner. Regardless, this latest development in Alpine's F1 saga, which includes a woeful underperforming car, mass staff rotation at a senior level, and disharmony amongst its drivers, paints a painful picture not befitting splitting of a works F1 team. In the coming weeks, Alpine faces a critical decision regarding its future, and with the Barcelona Grand Prix coming up, they have their work seriously cut out for them. What do you think will happen with Alpine as a team if Renault stops the engine supply? Let us know what you think down in the comments below. We'll see you soon in the next video.